Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It is I, Nick D'Orazio, and I am joining you once again with the Inven Global Cast. I am joined by my partner and co-host, Eric Gindele. So, Eric, hello.
Hello, Nick. How's it going?
I am doing very good, my friend, and I need to make sure I found you. I have found you. Okay, good. Just a small technical hiccup there.
Here I am. How's it going,
Nice.
everybody?
We are doing good. I'm actually very excited for this podcast. It looks like I cannot close your camera. Great. So I'm very excited for this podcast because we have a lot of awesome topics. For one,
Yeah.
I've been playing Valorant like ever since the
Okay.
beta came out, so that's excited. But I guess before we get into the fun news, I should ask you, Eric, what are you playing? Right? What are you doing right now? Now that Inven Global is working from home and it's episode 11, we've been here for some time now. Let's just get the most important stuff started.
Yeah, so I'm getting into Halo Master Chief Collection right now. It
Oh,
was just on sale on Steam, and I had a couple of friends I wanted to play, so I picked it up. And it's cool. I just beat the first game's campaign. I've never played it before, but it was cool. It was like really wacky and campy.
uh huh.
To where I was like, I mean, it's changed so much since where they've gotten now with Reach and stuff. They're also serious and everything with their campaigns.
Yeah.
But it was
So,
really cool. It was cool.
what is your FPS skills like?
Oh, pretty abysmal, honestly.
Really?
I mean, yeah, just coming off of Overwatch, I guess it's not as bad as it could be, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
not. But yeah, all the multiplayer, it's cool because they basically take all the multiplayer modes from all the games in the collection and like put it
Mm-hmm.
into one lobby. So you can create playlists that are like randomized between the first Halo game and like Halo Reach. So you never
Mm-hmm.
know like if you're gonna go into like this old school kind of Halo or this newer one. So
That's pretty
yeah,
sick.
yeah, it's fun to see like how the games have evolved over the years, and they still have to add like two, three ODST, just like all the games
So
basically. But yeah, it's cool to
here's a
yeah.
question then. Do you think this is preparing you for Valorant?
No, I said so. Yeah, so I tried out Valorant yesterday as well. I just happened to like one game, but
Mm,
I don't know. I kept telling myself like, oh, everyone keeps comparing it to like Overwatch, and if you're
mm-hmm.
good at Overwatch, you'll probably be okay at this. But no, it's way more like CS:GO than anything. With
Yeah, yeah, I think
yeah,
that's
I mean
true.
the game structure. Yeah, like all the rounds and stuff are so short, and there's so many of them in a single game, and
Mm,
like the shop aspect to it, like in between rounds, it's just like I don't know. I'm not familiar with CS:GO at all, like playing it or anything,
mm-hmm.
so it was kind of rough stuff. So
Yeah, so I'm actually glad that we can talk about this. I'll start with just the games I've been playing. Obviously, I've been playing Valorant, a lot of it. I've also been playing World of Warcraft, which is my forever love. Don't even get me started on the fact that I'm playing on the most populated server probably in WoW Classic history. There are queues constantly every day. Maybe,
have you been able
maybe
to get
no,
into
dude,
play?
I've missed every raid. Because I work from home, I always just miss the boat, and the boat leaves at around 5 p.m. and then forget it. If you're not logged in by 5 p.m., it's like a 4,000 person queue, and it takes hours. I've been wanting to play with my friend, and we haven't been able to, so that
What
sucks.
was the what was the last major update for WoW Classic?
So
What
the
is, I
last
mean, anything
major
else?
update, okay, the last major update that was tarred for some reason. The last major update was like phase three. We can call that like Blackwing Layer. It also includes the Darkmoon Fair. Just all sorts of fun things if you know the game. There are more content to be added. So there's more WoW Classic content to be added. I'd say everyone's power level though has reached like the peak. Like we're not going to see players get that much more powerful when they get gear upgrades. So what that does is it creates a new like economy in which people make their new alternate characters, so they start new characters from new classes. But now the economy's completely fucked because all the low level items and all the low level gear is worth incredible amounts of gold because everyone's just like, yeah. So it's an interesting time to be playing. It's definitely the WoW Classic experience. This is kind of like when I started playing for the first time when I was an actual kid. Because, yes, I was playing early, but I was never a part of a server that was this old and this well-produced. I was always a part of this new cheapo server where everyone was poor. No, not in this server. It's a completely different economy. So that's fun.
I'm glad to see it's still chugging for the people that want to keep chugging.
Hey, man, I will say this until I die, because I made a pretty successful bet about the success of WoW Classic. All right, there's one thing you know about gamers is once they find a game, they stick with it. They're going to die to it, all right? Once a game gets a certain threshold of love, Melee is in that club. League of Legends is in that club. Counter-Strike is in that club. They're not going to go away ever. There's going to be a Counter-Strike 3, a Counter-Strike 4, whatever. These are iconic games as long as these gamers are alive and gaming. So WoW Classic is that. So I always knew this. I always knew that the moment they bring it back, it'll be thriving. Maybe because I was playing on private servers for so long, but I think that is a tenet. And actually, here's a little fun little spoiler. Next week's Tuesday lecture will be about just that. So I'll be talking about the enduring traits of esports that don't die. This is one of my favorite articles I've ever written. It was actually produced into a video by one of our Korean colleagues because it was such a good article. He liked it so much. So I'll probably be playing the video. You guys can then see my whole theory, and then I can really break down why there's certain esports that will never die. The esports market kind of lives around them, and you can predict a lot of job openings and a lot of job opportunities around these esports. So, last lecture. Are you
going to be dissecting your own article?
Like, yeah. So,
what a revolutionary.
So, obviously things have changed, right? Like, maybe there's some things that need to be changed, and there's like, COVID reality. But, like, all of the core tenets are still there. And if you listen to my lecture this Tuesday about how to get a job within the esports and how to make a presence within your North American esports, I think you can start realizing the lessons they fold on each other. And if you take all of the lessons to heart, I truly do believe you can find a job within esports at this time. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I'll be doing on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, so I shared my opinions on Valorant. I like what I saw. It's not particularly for me. I mean, I only put a game into it, so I'm not expecting it to, hook me immediately. I know when I first played Overwatch, I was kind of off-put a little bit too, because I never played like Team Fortress 2 or anything like that. So it took me a while to get into it. But I want to hear your thoughts on.
It's so funny. I was so tempted to say Teamfight Tactics when you said Team Fortress 2, right?
No,
like that
it took me a while.
So, I love that I'm writing again because, you can tell you are speaking about what you know by when everyone asks you a question, you essentially paraphrase an article you've already written. So I've already written about Valorant, and it's up on the screen right now if you check us out. If you're just watching this on the video, you can check us out live at Inven Global Twitch channel. But there are three things that Riot is doing very well with Valorant. And Valorant, if you see earlier, with 1.6 million viewers on Twitch, they're doing very, very well. Actually, there's been tons. Actually, here, I can go to our Valorant content. They actually just broke records on Twitch. Like Twitch is super happy about it. Valorant's super happy about it. Everyone's happy about it. But here's what they're doing right. All right. They are focusing on the gameplay first, 100%. If you play the game, it doesn't even look good. And like developers are very open about, we don't really care how it looks right now. A lot of the abilities look pretty jank. They look like something out of an indie studio, but that's fine. They're not trying to make the game look beautiful. They're spending all their time on gameplay. And oh my God, when you make a decision like that, Riot is so keen on how influencer marketing works within esports. They know that there are 40 to 50 key opinion leaders in esports. The FPS guys, this is Tim the Tap Man, this is Dr. Disrespect, this is Mendo, right? They are the people that say whether an FPS game is good or not. Riot literally is just pandering to these 50 people. That's it. Like, they're just pandering to these 50 people in terms of their marketing, their PR, and it's working because these people are praising their game to the most captive audience of esports gamers in history, and they're literally playing with it, having such a great time. So, number one, Riot is placing gameplay first. It's very important. Number two, and it has to do with Riot embracing gameplay, they've re-embraced the hardcore FPS gamer, right? Like, Eric and I are not hardcore FPS gamers. We're the Overwatch gamers, right? I've been playing FPS my whole life only because I'm a gamer and that's just what we do. But I never dived into FPS like some people. Some people know the DPI of their mouse by heart and they're just this weird hardcore FPS person. Overwatch made the bet that FPS is such a fun genre, they can take the hardcore player out and give all of these really funny, nutty mechanics like Junkrat dropping bombs when he dies and Winston not aiming and Mercy with the heal, right? Like, Overwatch is a MOBA, and that's why me and Eric maybe have had a easier time embracing it. Valorant says, screw that. There's this hardcore FPS, a gamer type. They want high lethality. They want high skill ceiling. They want glitches. They want bunny hopping. They want literally the most, like, mechanically intense you can get. They want to sneak around the map and win because they got a headshot on someone with an op from a sliver pixel that they didn't even know existed. That is like a Counter-Strike source, and that's what Valorant is.
So yeah, like, obviously Riot is handling this like well, but like, what do you think of the game, like personally? Like,
me personally,
take a step back from the industry overview for a bit. Like, did you have fun playing it?
So yes, I did. I had fun playing it. I had fun playing it because for the first time in a very long time, when my random assortment of teammates wanted to speak on comms, I was happy to hear them. I was like, great, let's get organized. I didn't speak. I don't want to speak, but I'm good at the game. I'm silent. I know the map. I've learned to watch the map and learn it, and I have my aim skills from CSGO, so you can get me with, like, a scout or, you know, a submachine gun, and I can crouch and aim at heads pretty quick. You know, I know how to cover angles, and I certainly know how to cover my teammates. So when a tryhard wanted to start calling out shots, they're going A, they're going B, watch me here, I was all for it. It was great. CSGO and Valorant demand a level of teamwork that is far beyond silently play, get stressed, die, and then rage at your teammates. You know, this game is one that lives and breathes off of the communication. So you feel better when communicating with your team. You feel better when you're working as a team and when a plan comes together. One of the worst parts about Overwatch that I had in terms of fun is when you die in Overwatch, that's it. You've done like nothing good. It only feels bad. You have to walk back. Nothing's fun about it. But when you die in Valorant, if I traded, if I got off one kill, if I went like 1 for 1, dare I say, if I went 2 for 1, I'm feeling good. I'm winning the game, right? And not only is that, if I lose...
How do you feel about the...
what was that?
Yeah, all the classes and stuff.
I love it. I love it.
You like it?
So
okay, because I didn't realize that like you can only have one class per game, so I was like a little slow in the draw, and I just wanted to play as like who I played in the tutorial.
But you got
oh, okay. I guess I'll just play as this character that I have no idea how it works.
So I highly suggest everyone go in training mode. All right, I didn't play a game until I went through training mode and saw all the characters. But this last point, number 3, is why I think Valorant's doing so well, and it's what Eric just brought up. It's the character design. It's beautiful. It's diverse. We call them agents in Valorant. They're not heroes. They're not characters. They're agents. And I think that it's so much better than terrorist and counter-terrorist. Like, that entire like verbiage is so like 2000. It doesn't necessarily attract me. I don't feel cool playing as terrorist. I don't feel cool playing as counter-terrorist. But I do feel cool when I'm playing as this dude with a pop collar and he has a dope-ass brimmed hat and his name's Phoenix and he's this cool-ass black guy. Like, yeah, I love that. And that was the biggest appeal of Overwatch. I love being able to play diverse characters. I love being able to main a character, fall in love with that character, and their skins. That's what people are able to do with Valorant that they were never able to do with CSGO. Yes, some people did with the knife skins and the gun skins, but your average gamer never even got into that. So I think, all in all, Valorant's doing very, very well. I think that it is a masterclass in esports marketing. I think they did a really, really good job making the FOMO and making the hype real. I mean, they didn't have to be so public with this Twitch drops and get into the Valorant beta, but they did, and they did it very well. Even me, someone who likes to resist this stuff, even I couldn't help but tell my friends that I got into the Valorant beta because I wanted to play with them, So it's a really good launch.
Obviously, I mean, there's 5 characters in the closed beta. Yep. I know Riot's kind of come out there and said that the choice for characters is going to be very small, even upon official release of the game. I just don't think it really works with there's 5 slots, 5 available characters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're slow or just not quick enough, you just get stuck as a class that you're not super familiar with. Especially when you're playing with randos. I could see that
I agree.
Causing a lot of frustration in the game.
So I definitely get that, and I'll say that I'm not too worried about that, and I'll just keep up the characters here so you can look at them. I'm not too worried about that because, one, the ultimate abilities are pretty rare. You don't get them only after a couple rounds and after you get kills and stuff. And the ultimate abilities, while they're powerful, they essentially always boil down to I can either get a kill or negate a kill. And that's it. That's what you want. You don't want... Yes, there are some ultimates that can kill 5 people at once. But you could have always killed 5 people at once in this type of gameplay with grenades or with a really well-placed this or that, right? So, personally, I don't think the number of characters matters that much, especially because the core gameplay is gunplay. 90% of this gameplay is about how well you are with guns. To be honest, I practically forgot which character I was half of the time when I was locked into gameplay. Because it's all right, I used my little smoke grenade thing. All right, I used my little wall. Maybe it wasn't effective, and I healed myself because I always play the healer. A girl, I forgot her name. I think it's this. Oh, it's not on this picture I'm looking at. Well, she's the one with she's the healer with the little sleeves. Anyways.
Yeah, I played as the girl that can launch herself into the air.
Oh yeah, her. Yep.
Orbs and stuff. So I guess that's a good point where a lot of the abilities that you see aren't really damage dealing. Overwatch, you're primarily kind of relying on your abilities to score kills and stuff.
Genji does things because he's Genji,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. Like I said, kind of squandered my interest in the game a little bit, just seeing how.
Eric is a fantastic litmus. What is it? A litmus test? Is that the phrase? Litmus test? Yes. Mm-hmm. I think Eric is a fantastic litmus test right here because I have been tweeting about Eric all week. Now, he doesn't know I've been tweeting about Eric because really I've been tweeting about a certain type of gamer. But Eric is that gamer. There are so many people excited about Valorant, but I called it. I said, listen, y'all don't know what you're getting yourselves into. Ask yourself this. Are you playing CSGO right now? Have you logged into CSGO within the last month? Are you playing CSGO and it's a fun thing for you to do? If yes, you're going to enjoy Valorant because you have friends. It's great. If you haven't played CSGO in, if you know what that gameplay is and oh, that's not for me, Valorant's not for you. I think it's the best time to learn. It's the best place to ever get into that CSGO gameplay. But this is not Overwatch.
That's another thing with it's such a close comparison to CS:GO and CS:GO being as big as it's been for as long as it's been.
Yep.
I feel like the bar is about here for everyone that plays CS:GO, and the bar is way down here for anybody that's just starting to get in now.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think the bar is ever going to even out. It's
Never.
only going to get higher and higher
Yeah.
with the respective groups. So
It's never going. And there was this really funny tweet I loved because the biggest meme right now in the esports industry is like is Valorant jobs, right? Is like, oh, I'm going to be a Valorant pro. I'm going to be a Valorant caster, right? The
yeah,
funniest part is like these tier 2, tier 3 Overwatch players, these Apex Legends players, these Fortnite players,
yeah,
they think they're going to be able to beat a 16-year-old kid from Russia who has been grinding, no, who's been grinding out CS:GO matches. Literally, he's never even touched Overwatch. He's been
yeah,
playing this game constantly. He's been desperate for esports fame, esports dreams. He's seen it all. Now, this kid, this player, right, this pro, this teenager, they're the ones going to be playing Valorant, and they're going to destroy
yeah.
everyone.
I mean, that's another thing to kind of speculate is like I don't think Korean players is going to be the
Not a
best
chance.
players of this game
Dude,
by a long shot. I think
if
it's going to be like the European kids that are going to be fucking like slamming in this game.
if you were very smart, you would make a Valorant team right now, and you would do it with a bunch of no-name teenagers that you find in CS:GO lobbies. Like for
Yeah,
real, you would go in lobbies and you would see someone with a ridiculous KDA, and you would say, "Hey, can I pay you like $1,000 a month and just be on this team with me, make content, compete, and I need you to." If you do that, and someone's going to do it, it's going to be a Tempo Storm 2.0, because that's what Reyna did with Hearthstone, and that's what a
yeah,
lot of people did on those early days. So I think this is going to be much more. You're going to see me talk about Valorant way more. Inven Global is very, very committed towards Valorant content. We're going to be pretty much, yeah, you can go to our site to check that out. And also, you can check out HyperX in this stream. If you see our podcast mics, just want to give a quick shout out to HyperX for sponsoring this podcast. They have absolute fantastic peripherals. I'm actually not only talking with a HyperX mic, but I'm listening with HyperX headphones. And if you guys know me, I got a big head. I got a lot of hair. All right. I usually don't like. It's
someone. Yeah.
it's true. I usually don't like to wear headphones because they make my ears hurt and they make my hair messed up. These headphones are so comfortable. They're big, they're wide, they're just very nice. So shout outs to HyperX. I know that Eric and the partnerships team, you guys do a fantastic job of bringing people together to help Inven Global. So that just goes out to anyone listening or to anyone watching, all right? We are constantly doing fantastic stuff now in this new digital world when it comes to podcasts, panels, whatever you want. So let us know. We can also find a collaboration, or maybe you can just play Valorant with me and Eric. By the way, we should do that after this, or maybe after
After this,
work.
you look like Valorant.
Well, maybe after work
Um,
we can play Valorant. I'd love that.
These for Overwatch are probably empty right now if you want to
No
do that
way,
instead.
no way, not
That's
even. So, by the way, before we go on the next topic, I should say that there have been issues with Valorant 2. So, one of our resident writers, Tim Rizzo, writes that login issues have been plaguing Valorant since the beta launch. I've experienced
Yeah,
this myself. Valorant said on their own Twitter that they're working on a fix, that you may see some errors on delay when trying to log in, join parties, invite to parties, entering queues. So they pretty much said everything. Like, literally, they said there is a chance that you will enter queue problems when you do anything in game. So I've experienced that. It's locked up when I even try to load it. And I also want to just say a PSA to anyone listening who doesn't have the beta. You will get beta access. Just go on Twitch and watch any of the streams that are doing drops. My friends were like really salty because they weren't in. They literally just logged in on a stream today and bam, they got the drop. So like Riot is being extremely like generous with who they give. Obviously, they need to test server capacity. This is the same a company that hosts a League of Legends, so they know about stretching a server to its capacity. So don't feel bad if you don't have the beta yet. You can, and you know what? Shoot, I'm even going to try to get some beta codes myself. I know Riot PR, they're helping us out. Maybe we can get a podcast giveaway if that even exists. So one day we're trying to help out our listeners.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you wanna jump back into World of Warcraft stuff? I know we
I
talked about
suppose.
Classic. What's going on with that?
Yeah. So right now, World of Warcraft, I guess not beta, the live, right? The live version of World of Warcraft is a suspect, right? So I currently don't play it. I know some of my friends play it.
So, like, do you know anything that's going on with like actual World of Warcraft?
So
right now?
I do, only because of my friends, because they're constantly trying to get me into it. But literally every time this happens, it eventually becomes an issue because some mechanic is BS or something is busted. And now, here again, I'm reading the World of Warcraft Shadowlands new Covenant system is already causing stress. So it's new abilities, new rules, all sorts of stuff.
So they're basically trying out this funky system where you'll pick a Covenant. You can see it in the picture right now if you're watching the stream. And it's basically like every Covenant has a skill attached to them that players will acquire by joining the Covenant. So it's getting to a point where a lot of people are speculating now. People are going to figure out exactly which skill is the absolute best, and that's absolutely going to skew like who's joining what. You see this with like a lot of multiplayer games that try to do this. I know, For Honor had this problem where
For Honor was huge on that, man.
Yeah, they had this whole like clan system where you join like the Vikings or the Japanese or something like that, but everyone joined the same exact clan. So when they would do like these weekly or monthly roundups of like, oh, who did the best, it's obviously going to be the people with the most members playing. So I don't know.
So I can explain.
They're trying something new here, but I don't think necessarily.
So I can explain in detail why this won't work and why this is causing players stress and why people don't like it. So Shadowlands have already caused some issue with these corruption items. So after Blizzard already made tons of mistakes by invalidating people's gear by power creep, Blizzard long time ago forgot that people's love of MMOs is because each rare item and gear they get is a memory of a play session in which something fantastic happened. So the reason you are so in love with your character is because, don't you remember that one night you and 40 friends killed that boss and an amazing sword that has a 2% chance dropped and everyone was excited and then you were the character that got it? Wow, that's big.
Sure.
Now that goes away when literally next week they just give every player a sword that's not only cooler looking but more powerful. So that's what Blizzard has been doing for the past 10 years, and it's why anyone who actually loves MMOs doesn't play WoW retail. Only the very, very top hardcore, because that's the only way the game feels like an MMO. Now this system, though, is a completely new problem, but it's the same core issue. So they had this great idea. They said, hey, what if we give players choices to do different things? So if you recall, in an RPG, I choose a class, healer, tank, a DPS. We all love it. Now let's just take me for example. In this image you see, I like to play DPS heroes. I love to do the most damage, and I love to do huge amounts of fireballs, right? Each of these different groups that I can join, on the surface, it represents a lore choice. They're saying, hey, Nick, the player, join your favorite faction and then fight and play the game, and it'll be more fun. Now, I think that'd be fun, and I would probably join these little guys right here on the right. But if the esports side of me that wants to do damage and kill players, if I read all of these different abilities, and the guys on the left here clearly have the better ability for me, then it doesn't matter which faction I like. I'm going to make my character more powerful. They've already did this with Burning Crusade, but they did it much better. If you remember a Shatrath and then the other city, in that city there were all these factions. They've already done this before, and it's fun. The problem is you can't combine lore decisions and aesthetic decisions with gameplay ones, because it's just it's too mixed messages. I will always choose the option that makes my character better than the other person's character. So, yeah, players are obviously stressed because they need to research each of these factions, figure out which one has the best benefits for them. And then on top of that, they have to say, well, okay, are these benefits going to change, in some patch? This is OP right now, but are they just going to nerf it? Because it takes time and it takes investment, and they're trying to make it this big permanent deal. So, again, I know I do a lot of predictions here, but I can predict that the reason this happened is because internally at Blizzard, they got a lot of good ideas, but they don't have the leadership to choose one good one. So what you get is a bunch of stupid ideas like this. This is a bunch of good ideas mixed into one stupid idea because no one had the leadership to say that's a bad idea. So yes, I
know that I know the current expansion people are kind of sour on already. Just ask anybody, I guess, that just like dipped in to see what it was about. It either didn't change enough, or what they did change wasn't great, or it just got stale too quickly. And I mean, this kind of opens up on a sour note too, where it's just like, we're gonna make you choose this covenant, and that's gonna be like the shtick of this expansion.
Yep.
They're like, I don't know.
Have you ever played Dark Souls 2? You played Dark Souls 2, right?
No, I skipped straight to Dark Souls 3.
Okay, well, Dark Souls has a really cool multiplayer component. Now, I say cool because they wanted to do something different. They said, what if, like, multiplayer wasn't this, like, perfectly UI clean choice? Like, what if PvP felt a little murkier and weirder and out of your control? Like, what if an invasion on your world really felt like it because you couldn't predict it? They ran in...
It's like something that's in those games that is super weird.
Yeah, and me, as someone who loves world PvP, I liked that. I liked how I can choose a covenant where no one can stop me from entering their game and killing them. But it was cool because some other players could join a covenant that's dedicated towards beating players like me. So you could join the defense against the weak players based around, like, the aggro players. So I personally think it created something amazing. You used, like, individual players, like, motivation to select teams. The aggro players chose the aggro covenants, the PvE players chose the safe covenants, and then the defense players that I'll only fight if provoked, they chose their covenant. Now they
it's a cool system that kind of just enables players the freedom to do whatever they want.
Now
it's cool. Like that's really what Blizzard should have figured out with this. But I know in DS3 there was a covenant where you can join boss battles of other players, and you were able to either kill the boss with the player or attack the player directly. So
that's amazing.
If you came into a game, you never knew like what they were going to do. It was cool.
I love stuff like that. Now, Dark Souls gets a few smacks on the face because they also made the rewards per covenant, like, different. And I always hate that in game design because it punishes a certain player like me that is both lore-friendly, but I min-max. Like, there's a lot more of that type of gamer now that people are becoming more seasoned gamers. So, in Dark Souls 2, I had to do the min-maxing and say, okay, well, these covenants give different rewards. Which reward do I want? Because I want to make the best spellcaster ever, right? So, like, there is that, and I think that's kind of lame. I never liked that. But back on topic, that is much better, and it's only a small infraction compared to what Blizzard did here. So it totally makes sense that players are frustrated with them on this.
Yeah, it's really important to kind of future-proof this stuff too, because like you mentioned, like the rewards there are individual unique rewards per covenant. I mean, it was hard enough kind of trying to get everything back then, but in Dark Souls 3, that game came out 4 years ago. Trying to get paired up and enter games and have people summon you in all these different covenants. It could take tens of hours just to get into like a couple of sessions. So
speaking of sessions, we're talking about like World of Warcraft and like PvP. Part of what I think I like the most about Valorant, and again, I'm going to try not to talk about Valorant, but part of what I think I love most about Valorant is there's no mistaking that like the point of the game is to get really good at it. Like that's it. The point of the game is to master the characters and master this PvP element. I always didn't like how like Overwatch tried to make a little too many like alternatives to like just the core competitive mode, because it turns into a really weird like grouping of players. I think that's why Overwatch is so toxic, because Overwatch wants to be liked by everyone. They fail the first step of just creating a community of gamers that want to play together. When you join an Overwatch community, no one wants to play together because some people are super casual, some people play for the skins, some people play for the social, and then there's some people that think they're going to go Overwatch League, Path to Pro. I've so far really enjoyed that the Valorant beta shows that like everyone's on the same page. We all just want to play really well and get really good, and that's cool. And I hope it stays like that, because things aren't toxic. Things get really toxic when you invite everyone and they have different ideas. Now, I know it's obviously going to happen, but I can handle toxicity based off the passion to win. I can't handle the toxicity based off, this game's garbage, no, this game's good, this game's garbage. Like, that's when you start getting, I think, into weird territory that Overwatch is currently trapped in. And honestly, that World of Warcraft is trapped in too. I think these communities are divided, and it makes playing the game worse.
You have to take into account that this is going to be a free-to-play game too, and that this opens the floodgates to absolutely anything in terms of toxicity. Because you know what, people aren't losing anything if they get banned. They're like, oh well, I had my fun being a shitbag for 4 or 5 games, and now I'm done.
Well, here's the best part about Valorant though. Even if that troll is a shitbag, if I'm really good, I can 1v5 people. I can 1v4 people. That's the saving grace of Valorant. The reason Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch are such horrible games to play is because if your teammate's bad, that's it. You're now bad. If your teammate's bad, you're going to lose the game. There's nothing you can do. And Valorant, dude, I'm winning games. And do you know why? Because I'm getting carried. I'm not good. I'm not good at this game. I maybe get 6 kills a round and I feel good, but I'm getting carried hard. And those guys are having fun with me because I'm not holding them back. I pick the healer and I stay in back, and if someone gets damaged, I heal them, and I'm with like a sniper and I can get some, good flick shots because I'm very patient. Awesome. I feel like I'm part of the team. If I try that same thing on Overwatch and I play Widowmaker because I like to snipe, forget about it. I'm going to lose and start... And people are going to flame me, and now I have to know the meta, and I got to switch heroes, and if I don't switch fast enough, people blame me, and there's this weird thing in which I can then, commend people, but people commend you based on salt now. There's this meta of, you commend the person you hate. It's really weird, man. Overwatch is a fractured, divided community. It's not fun to play. Speaking...
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about Valorant and World of Warcraft.
We will. And speaking of games we need to talk about, so Legends of Runeterra, it seems like we talk about Riot and Blizzard. They're doing, some big things. But Legends of Runeterra will officially launch PC and mobile on April 30th. Now, if you have no idea what that is, this is Riot's digital card game. This is their answer to Artifact, which is also planning a relaunch, though Legend of Runeterra has immediately gotten more praise, right?
Standing on the grave of Artifact, put them up.
Man, Artifact. So, so if you don't know, Artifact is a game released by Valve that did horribly bad. It was way too complicated, and the economy sucked, and the influencers eventually hated it, so it was a death spiral, right? You can learn a lot from Artifact.
They're going to Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
They're going to rebuild it from ground up. And, I mean, I guess we're seeing a lot of that with Anthem too.
So they're doing what I wished Lawbreakers did. I still think there's hope for Lawbreakers, man.
Shut up.
There is, man. There's hope for Lawbreakers. Listen, if there is hope for No Man's Sky, look what happened with No Man's Sky. No
Lawbreakers is beyond super dead. That studio showed its door. Boss Key.
But
It was Cliffy B's
Yeah,
studio.
Cliffy B is, last time I checked, had a restaurant. Sorry about that. The coronavirus must
No.
make that very hard.
Yeah, and then he tried to make that Battle Royale game that was all like 80s aesthetic. You remember
Yeah,
that?
I
I
remember
completely
that.
forgot the name of it.
I remember that
Um,
too.
Radical Heights, was that it?
You
I think it was.
mean Fortnite's little brother who's angry that he doesn't get to hang out with the big kids?
Yeah, well, they slapped that thing together in like 3 months, and then
That's the
was
prob.
surprised at it.
That is the problem with these weak strategists, these very weak game industry strategists. They thought they could get somewhere by just doing something that everyone else is already doing. You're Cliffy B. Your whole thing is you do new stuff. Your whole thing is you change the industry, that you're bringing all this new stuff. Why on earth did you just try to make Fortnite for edgy kids? Man,
Yeah,
it should have been, Lawbreaker should have been what Valorant is. Lawbreaker should have been the smart play that's disruptive against Overwatch, not trying to beat it. Because
sure.
CSGO was always the disruptor on Overwatch. And CSGO is so powerful and so unique that Overwatch never tried to do anything with it. Never tried to take any of their gamers, never even tried. But Valorant poses a threat to CSGO, and they pose a huge threat to Overwatch. Can you imagine if Cliffy B was, instead of trying to be like, we're better than Overwatch, said, don't even talk about Overwatch. Talk about, like, Lawbreakers, the game where you die in one shot, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well.
I don't know.
Wasn't
I think
that, though?
we're giving Cliffy B a little bit too much credit here.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, man, the story behind A No Man's Sky, it's changed me. If you see how that
yeah,
game came back from the ashes through just hard work, faith in the product, pure grit, it's a great game now. And I just think that's like real,
yeah.
you know?
I, yeah, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with the amount of copies it sold at launch, despite
Well, that too.
uh, how shitty the reception was at launch. People were so hyped about it,
So
and
you don't think that
they made their
Artifact,
sales, they made their money, and they just were able to dip into that as long as they wanted
so
to,
you don't
just
think
making
that
changes.
Artifact has a chance? It will never come back?
Artifact,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Valve. I don't know where it went wrong in development. I think maybe it was just too many cooks in the kitchen. Maybe they got a
Yeah.
little overzealous with putting out a game for the
Yeah.
first time in forever.
I think
Now
they
they have
try.
like Half-Life Alex, which is getting extremely good reviews and everything like that. But
So,
yeah, I mean, they're
hmm.
going back into it. They're going to be changing everything up. I know like Gwent, the Witcher card game, was
Hmm.
was doing the same thing. I think they recently relaunched as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, card games are hard.
You
Card
know
games
what?
are real hard
I think that
to get right.
I think that the reason that Artifact failed is because a lack of understanding how you fall in love with a card game. So in
Yeah,
terms of, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, and then we'll move on to actually another card game, Hearthstone, which we should talk about. Um, in order to fall in love with a card game, you need to first realize it's very simple. This is what Magic the Gathering does very well. When you ever play a new game of Magic, it's green creatures are big, blue creatures fly, black creatures hurt you, red creatures are aggressive. That's it. And then blue creatures are mystical and they give you cards. That's it. You buy the starting decks, you get introduced. No one's immediately talking to you about stages of play and on the stack and triggers, and no one's immediately talking to you about counter spells and some of the like. Magic the Gathering is such an insanely complicated game when played at the highest level. But
sure.
Artifact was like, oh, Dota 2 is an esport. We're the biggest esport. So our card game can't be casual. It can't be simple. We have to immediately design this for card game experts. And I'm old enough to remember that every single Hearthstone pro was praising Artifact. They loved Artifact. Every single Hearthstone pro was giving me quotes and wanting me to interview with them about how great Artifact was. This was no hashtag ad. None of that, right? I actually made an image of an article I was about to put out that had Artifact smashing through the Hearthstone logo. I'm glad I didn't publish that because I did some more research and I started looking at Artifact's numbers. So what does this
Yeah,
say? What does this story say to us? Well, it says that whoever designed Artifact was correct. They made a game that the most hardcore, esports card game people love. But they just came out the gate like that. They didn't give us a super simple game. They immediately introduced us to 3 lanes, but the 3 lanes separate, and every time you do a turn, you switch to the lanes. Now I have to keep track of 3 board states. Oh, and by the way, some cards affect one. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know what's going on?
I feel like Legends of Runeterra is going to be following the same path that Hearthstone and Artifact are going to be falling into, where
yes.
They need something to push them over the edge. They need something that makes them unique. But I think in the long run, we're talking months, if not years from now, it's just going to be they're constantly going to have to outdo themselves and make things more complicated and add all these little things,
what I think.
Making other things completely irrelevant or obsolete, and it's just this big mess that nobody can keep up with anymore.
So Eric is so smart because he represents the reality. That's the cynical. Yes, that's how they will mess up. That's how the game dies. Eric has just successfully predicted the next 8 months of the game's death. But what if it succeeds? And I think they're smart. I think they've learned from Artifact. I don't think they make this game complicated, man. I think they make it as simple as possible. And every single time they add things, it gets simpler. If you currently look at Hearthstone, and you look at the Hearthstone expansion, which we will just talk about right now, I actually had, I've interviewed several of the developers on how they made the class, what they were thinking. And you can find all these interviews on Inven Global. I've had a really great time. I'm talking with them about it. Their brand new class is the most simple class they've ever introduced. This is a aggro class. That's it. I go face. I do damage. My hero power is 1 mana instead of 2 mana. Ooh, that's the big change. That's what's everyone's talking about. These are numbers. And the cards are simple. Everyone gets it. And if you look at
my big question is why now? Why introduce the first new hero card since the game launched 6 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not the same as, if Overwatch went 6 years without adding a new hero. Obviously, they've been doing a ton of new game modes and cards and stuff like that. But I feel like if they were going to go this route, they should have done it, within a year, maybe 2 of launching. Even that might be a little long.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think? Did you ever get super into Hearthstone? I know I played super casually on my phone.
Yes, Hearthstone was probably one of my first esports. I really made a name with myself. Believe it or not, I used to have a Hearthstone podcast. All the pro players would be on it. We would talk Hearthstone constantly. I would write about Hearthstone constantly. I'd attend the events live. I used to cover Hearthstone esports a lot. I was even in charge of their power rankings. So I'd even rank the players on who's the most powerful based on their wins and so. I think this comes from me being a Magic the Gathering nerd my whole life, so I've always loved competitive card games. Now, to answer your question, which I'm very excited to do, why would Blizzard release the hero now? Well, I literally asked the dev that made the hero that question. So I'm just going to read what he said. So I asked them, when you want to add a whole new hero to a game like Hearthstone, where do you even start? Some open-ended question, because I wanted to figure out why did you even do this? How did you even do this, right? This guy, he says, it's been really fun because, you only really get to do this once every 6 years. There were a couple of needles that we really wanted to thread. One is that there's already a lot of cool Demon Hunter stuff in WoW. So there's the first thing. They made the Demon Hunter because as World of Warcraft expands, Demon Hunters as a class get more and more important. They get more important lore-wise. And in terms of the original 9 classes shown in Hearthstone, they're still missing Monk, they're still missing Death Knight, and they're still missing a Demon Hunter. Now, they've already represented the Death Knight in their Death Knight expansion, in which they made Death Knight versions of each hero. So players are like, okay, I have the full WoW experience in this game, but they've been missing out on Demon Hunters. They've already shown a lot of monks through their other expansions. So there's tons of Panda Love and there's tons of, but there has never been fully Demon Hunters. So that's like number one. They needed to just match the WoW lore. The other stuff is that there was so much overlap between the Demon Hunter and the other classes. So for example, if you know much about the classes in WoW, a Demon Hunter is pretty much a rogue and a mage, like mixed together. And rogue and mage are the most popular classes in Hearthstone. So they essentially said, what are the most popular play styles? What if we combined them? And we needed to add a new class. They always knew they were going to add a new class. So why not now? There are more people playing Hearthstone than ever. And by the way, the reason more people are playing Hearthstone than ever is because of a mode called Battlegrounds. Now, have you ever tried Hearthstone Battlegrounds, Eric?
No.
So
No.
this is their auto battler. Hearthstone Battlegrounds is the auto chess. It is the what was the other one? It is their version of Teamfight Tactics, right? And it is so popular in Hearthstone. They're already putting out new content.
I feel like I haven't heard like a single thing.
Trust me, they're putting out new content for it. They're like unloading new heroes for it. There's a new Demon Hunter hero you can play in their Battlegrounds. It's very fun. And this all comes back to what we were talking about with Legends of Runeterra, right? Hearthstone Battlegrounds is literally the most brain-dead game I have ever seen, maybe in the past 10 years. It is essentially gambling that's automated for you. You just pick some units, and then those units randomly smash into each other. And whoever wins, wins. There you go. So it's the most brain-dead thing ever. More and more people watch Hearthstone Battlegrounds than just regular Hearthstone. And there's even people who are thinking about they wanted to make it like an esport. So where does this go with like Legends of Runeterra? I think Riot is smart. I think Riot has learned from where these other games succeed. Legends of Runeterra will not fail the way that Artifact did. Artifact failed because it was too complicated. Blizzard knows that Hearthstone's secret is how brain dead it is. It's so simple. There are more people watching Hearthstone and playing once every day for 30 minutes than the hardcore users, you know? And these are the people that buy packs and stuff. So anyways, there's my little Hearthstone. You can read the full interview on invenglobal.com. I asked them all sorts of fantastic questions. We learn about all of the new cards, the flavor. They're even redoing a Paladins and Priest. So they're doing a lot. And if you like Hearthstone or like card games, you should definitely take a look. And you can see some of our content. So yeah, Eric, there is the answer to your question.
Oh, thank you. It's very elaborate. So I guess that's most of the major esports news.
Yeah, for
sure. Outside of esports, gaming-wise, there wasn't a ton of stuff getting announced. I know Microsoft did a little stream yesterday showing off a couple games that they had already announced.
Really?
Sony just...
I didn't see that.
They just announced the what the PlayStation 5 controller is going to look like. You see that? DualSense controller?
Oh, I saw that. Along with that weird image of what a gamer is going to look like in the next 20 years. Have you seen that?
I thought it was like satirical.
What a gamer looks like 20 years. I have to check this out.
No, yeah, I saw the article that it came from. I was like,
this can't
surely
be real.
This
can't be real. Jeez.
I mean,
okay. Here's the thing.
That's gonna be new, dude.
So I'm showing the image right here. I gotta say three things. Okay. Number one, the reason us gamers see this image and we're all shocked by it is because that's the point. All right. The whole point was to create an image that was horrible. The people who made it know it looks horrible. It's because we live in a digital era, and the only way to get noticed is to make a lot of noise. So you cut through all of just the BS. An image like this with a shirt that says "Future a Gamer" is very incendiary. Dare I say, even like racist. Like against gamers, almost. It is a laughable depiction of who we are.
I don't know, dude. I've got like 75% of what's being shown here already.
Here's the thing, okay? We literally just put on a panel about esports fitness and esports wellness. So we're aware of the issue. A lot of people are fighting back on it. Now, I will also say, though, now that being said, I know quite a few streamers that look like this. It's like, I know it hurts.
The future is now.
But, I mean, molding is a thing. People are going bald because of a lack of sunlight. You know, bloodshot eyes, rounded shoulders, hunchback, obese, pale skin, PlayStation thumb. I know with the things, right?
Yeah.
So it's
that's what makes me cringe the most about this is the PlayStation thumb, Nintendo arthritis shit that they're plastering.
Yeah, but I think that this is
Pikachu thumbs, you know.
As stupid as this is, you got to imagine. I'm sitting up a little straighter after this, right? I mean, I'm worried. I mean, I'm just being shown here things that I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize that my shoulders could not be straight, you know. So it's a net good. And I will say that, okay, gamers, we're not like this. Half of the gamers I know who follow me, and I follow them, we're like constantly sharing little like fitness ideas, or, you know, do like 10 push-ups every time you die, you know. Gamers are getting really motivated in this whole quarantine. I know Eric was a former athlete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see? I was a former athlete myself. So, you know, this is not completely who we are as people. It is terrifying, though.
No neck beard. That's cool. I thought definitely the route that we'd be going. I mean, at least wear a properly fitting shirt, you know?
The shirt's really bad. And what are those feet? What's with the swollen ankles, man?
These shorts are horrible. It looks like a bathing suit.
Jeez.
I would be surprised if there's like a diaper underneath there.
You know what? It's just a matter of time, though, before someone who looks exactly like this makes this cosplay and takes the photo. And I'll follow them when it happens. That's a good little bit of clout chasing.
Do you think esports diapers are going to be a thing in the future?
So,
like, depends for elites.
So yes, yes, 100%. And this is only okay. I'll end the podcast because we have to go soon. But I'll end the podcast with one more ridiculous prediction. One day, me and Eric are going to get put in a nursing home, right? And it's going to be just like any other nursing home, but we're not going to be playing bingo. We're going to be gaming, all right? We're going to be gaming. We're going to be playing MMOs. We're going to be playing a VR MMO. And you better believe your boy is going to have dependency issues. And you better believe your boy is not going to be able to make it to the toilet. And you best believe I ain't going to sacrifice my MMR because I got to poop. I'm going to be wearing that esports
This is just what you sound like now when you're playing.
I'm wearing esports diapers. I'm wearing esports Depends. Hook me up. Put me on the IV drip. I'm pissing and gaming, bro. I'm serious, man. It's going to happen. So with that said, I would like to thank you for listening to episode 11 of the Inven Global Cast. You can find all of our content at www.invenglobal.com. Eric, where can they find you on social media?
You can try to find me at Winko Stainless on Twitter.
Try to find him. It's like, where is Winko instead of where is Waldo? Try to find him. If you do, dude, retweet it. Where's Winko? I don't know where the hell this guy is either.
That's actually a pretty good idea. I might just go. I've been trying to drop Stainless for a while now.
Why?
But
Stainless
because
is
Winko
cool.
is always taken.
Yeah.
Everything. Where's Winko is pretty good.
I do like it. You can just find me at Nick D'Orazio 3RD. That's easy. My name. Yours could just be your name too.
Yeah.
So I'll give 100 V-Bucks to the first person who can tweet at me why it's 3RD. 100 V-Bucks. Tweet at me and you get it. I have the little card. I'm staring at it right now. So you can.
Just the third Nick D'Orazio?
I don't know what you're talking about. Someone needs to DM me that. Someone needs to at me that. We're trying to get social engagement here, Eric. You can't just throw out the answers to my riddles.
Am I out of the running for this?
You are definitely out of the running. I want to make it very clear. We don't pay Eric. We don't pay him to be on the podcast. We don't pay him to work for Inven Global. I haven't paid Eric in 4 years? I think that's actually one of the things we're most proud of at the company.
I've been saving up my gamer bucks. Those things are going to be are the Inven Global cryptocurrencies.
Dude, Inven Bucks are big though. I'm putting a lot of my money into Inven Bucks.
Mhm.
Actually, check out my Twitter. I got some e-commerce stuff I'm working on. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Thank you guys for joining. You can find us on YouTube. It's our Inven Global YouTube. You can find us online. And you can find us on SoundCloud, pretty much wherever you get podcasts, right? I know Eric's working on that. And if you have any questions for us, or you want to give us a shout out, or you want to work with us, you can just let me know at nick@invenglobal.com or desk@invenglobal.com. So, this has been the Inven Global Cast. This is a picture of you, the future gamer here. I'm sorry. And my name has been Nick D'Orazio, and I'm with Eric Gindele. Signing out. See ya.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye.